Going way back, longer than I like to admit, I was a hardcore Piston AR guy for several reasons. They definitely used to be more reliable, and the argument could be made that they are still more reliable. Another really big factor for me was that they had adjustable gas systems and played way nicer with suppressors than DI guns would. A lot has changed in the past decade or so, and the direct impingement operating system has made improvements, in my eyes bringing it closer to the Piston system. And some of the things that needed to be addressed about the Piston operating system also have been addressed. I recently picked up an Adams Arms P2, and I thought it would be interesting to see where the debate currently stands, Piston versus direct impingement, while at the same time introducing new shooters to what a Piston AR is, how it works, and take a look at the performance and features of the Adams Arms P2. So what exactly is a piston-operated AR? Well, let's first look at how a direct impingement AR works so that we can understand the operation for most of the ARs available on the market today. In a direct impingement AR, when you fire the rifle, there is a small hole in the barrel that siphons off a small amount of the high-pressure gas from the round, and that gas goes up into the gas block and down the gas tube, where it meets the gas key on top of the bolt carrier. When the bolt carrier receives that high-pressure gas, it makes it travel rearward, cycling the weapon. That is all well and good, but that pressurized gas contains carbon fouling, dirt from the gunpowder being burnt, as well as heat. In a direct impingement, all of that dirt and heat is constantly being blown back into the receiver literally every single time you pull the trigger. The old saying is a DI gun craps where it eats, and there is a lot of truth to that when you think about it. A piston gun works slightly differently. You'll have the same barrel with a small port or hole in it to siphon off those same high pressure gases from the bullet being fired. Those gases will also go into a gas block very similar to the DI gun, but at this point, those gases will be used to push a piston, just a physical piece of steel that is going to physically impact or strike the bolt, causing the firearm to cycle. No hot, dirty gases from the round going off are being directly pumped into the receiver like in the direct impingement variant. This also keeps the gun running far cooler. Any excess gas in the system is vented out at the gas block, keeping the receiver, the bolt carrier, and all the moving parts cooler. Well, exactly how much cooler? That's kind of hard to say. But we recorded a DI gun and the Adams Arms P2 with an AGM Sidewinder thermal, and at only 11 rounds, you can see the DI gun's bolt starting to get hot, and the Adams Arms bolt is still black, meaning it is still cool. Here's another little demonstration we did. First, mag dump 20 rounds out of the Adams Arms P2. Then pull the bolt carrier out and grab it with your bare hand. It's still ice cold, and you can actually do way more than 20 rounds and the bolt carrier will still be ice cold. So is piston really better than DI? Well, that is kind of hard to pinpoint, but what is evident is that many militaries are moving toward piston-driven platforms over their DI counterparts. The Marines M27 could be called HK's version of a piston AR with many similarities to the Adams Arms rifle. The SIG Spear and the FN SCAR are also piston-based operating systems, so it would seem given the choice, many militaries are going with the piston system for its higher reliability, cooler function, which should result in a longer service life for these weapons. Some traditionalists and FUDs out there may say if it was meant to be that way, the guy who designed the AR-15 would have made it that way from the beginning. Well, he kinda did, or at least almost the beginning. Eugene Stoner, the designer of the AR-15, which was adopted for U.S. military service, designed many variants for Armalite, the company he was working for at the time, and while the AR-15 is definitely the most prominent of this group, there was another variant, the AR-18. The AR-18 had many similarities to the AR-15, but used a piston-driven operating system. The AR-18 can be traced back as the inspiration for the majority of piston-driven arms of today. So anyone that says that it wasn't the way it was intended to be, Eugene Stoner had a piston-driven version shortly after the direct impingement version. One common thing people say about piston guns is that they aren't as accurate as DI guns, and at some point in the past there may have been some truth to that, but now I would say that has been resolved. I own a lot of ARs. 4 total, if any 3-letter agencies are watching. And the most accurate AR in my collection is a piston gun. I would say that this Adams Arms P2 is cut from that same cloth. While we didn't put it on paper at 100 yards, we did do this at 100 yards, and I would say that this is easily a 1-inch or better gun. Like we always do here, we like to stretch things out, and the Adams Arms P2 had no issues making good hits at 525 yards with multiple shooters on multiple days. And just to take things even further to almost the point of absurdity, we decided to see if we could get any hits with this piston-driven AR out at 1,080 yards. Adams Arms P2 did not let us down when combined with Callaway Ballistics match grade 77 grain ammo. This rifle really performed well all the way out to 1,080 yards. So I think that fairly well dispels any ideas that the Adams Arms P2 with its piston-driven system isn't accurate. Actually, I knew this gun would do well, but it even surprised me at just how accurate it really is. Let's take a look at the features of the Adams Arms P2. Also, keep in mind this gun kind of fits in the upper middle offerings from Adams Arms lineup, but they have all sorts of options. The barrel is a 1-in-7 twist, and I always like that in 5.56 guns, especially guns that I want to push the accuracy and range on. That twist works great with the heavier bullets and allows you to really push it to its limits. The trigger is a Rise Armament Rave 140 trigger. This is my first time using this trigger, and I have to say it is very nice. It has a good, clean, crisp reset and pulling at a very consistent 3 pounds on my scale. Not sure what else you could ask for. There is a nice M-LOK rail with full Picatinny on top, and the rifle does come with some flip-up sights from Chris. We always had an optic on the gun, so I never actually used them, but it is nice that some iron sights are included. The grip is an ergo grip, which is good, maybe not my personal favorite, but I definitely don't hate them or anything, and I'll probably never change it. The stock is also made by Chris, and it's unique and gives the gun a look different than the rest of the pack. It performed very well for us without any issue, but I probably will change that out in the future to something I'm just a little more familiar with. Adams Arms is also using a Radian charging handle, can't get much better than that, and I'm so glad to see that they went with Radian. Overall, this is a very well-equipped AR right out of the box. We did run it stock for the whole review and everything worked great. In the past, a common complaint about piston-driven guns was their weight, but this Adams Arms P2 comes in at only 7 pounds, which I think is very acceptable for a full-length 16-inch gun. We started off using the Huxworks 762 Ti suppressor, which has very low back pressure, and it worked best in the unsuppressed setting, as you would expect from that suppressor. Then we switched over to the new Liberty Precision Machine Torch, which is a very quiet 5.56 cam but does add some back pressure, and as expected, the gun worked best by adjusting the gas lower a couple clicks, which can be easily done with a flathead screwdriver down the handguard. I decided to demonstrate this one of the times I took the handguard off to film the piston, but this is a very good way to handle adjusting the gas flow for various suppressors and ammunition types. Adams Arms also made it very easily adjustable right through the handguard, so no need to take the handguard off, and a flathead screwdriver is something that about everyone should have available. So back to our original question, is piston better than direct impingement? Well, I think both systems have made great strides in fixing the issues that their given operating systems have been known for. While I like them both and have ARs equipped both ways, like I said, just 2 DIs and 2 pistons, I do feel that if the world was ending, a piston gun will go longer with no maintenance than a DI gun. However, if something does break, some piston parts are proprietary, and basically all DI parts work in all DI guns with just a few exceptions. You just have to decide what factors are important to you, and also most guys today have a couple ARs. Maybe you should get a piston gun and see what you think about it. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because as always we have some really big reviews in the works that you won't want to miss. If you want to know what those reviews are way before they hit the YouTube channel, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, where you can see what's being reviewed in real time. And by the way, check the links in the description. There you can find some cool stuff that I found and the best deals on it. If you want to help support Alabama Arsenal, the absolute best way to do that is through Patreon. These videos can be surprisingly expensive to make, and every little bit helps and is greatly appreciated. There's also Alabama Arsenal gear available right below the video if you want to go out and represent. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching.